And I just want to say, this man, you really are one of the most incredible beings I know. It's such an honor to know you, truly, to attend your workshops and to know you personally. He does powerful work in the world. You're touching so many people's lives, more than you know, through all your sharings, your writings, your stories, your teachings, and tuning into your mission, your kuleana, as you speak of. It's really powerful. You really come to life. So I commend you for having the strength to listen and to transform that story. It takes an incredible amount of strength. Hey everyone, I'm here interviewing my dear friend Keone Hanalei. I'll just share a little bit about his presence in my life. I reached out to Keone last spring, April of 2019. I'd recently moved back to the islands, and Keone lives Maui, ancestry from Maui. And I was in a bad place. I was recently referred to hospice, and I was scared. I was scared for my life. And I had heard about this amazing man who had been diagnosed with cancer, stage 4 cancer. This was 11 years ago.
Yes, yes.
11?
It was 11 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. And he had gone through remission, like spontaneous radical remission.
Yeah. Hmm.
He's very prominent on Instagram, and I was inspired by his statement and who he was. And I reached out to him and I just said, "Hey, how did you do this? What magic did you do? What unfolded for you to create this change in your life?" So we've been friends. He's been a powerful ally for me, and I'm so grateful for his presence in my life. I could say a lot more just gushing about how amazing he is, but you'll see how amazing he is in this interview. So our friendship has unfolded, and it's now maybe 10, 11 months later. I've attended 2 of his workshops. He's been a dear friend and ally. I've used his Fern essences, and I'm just very grateful to have this time with you. So thank you for being present for this.
Mahalo, sister. I'm so honored to be invited to just speak a little bit about my story and what inspired me to make a change in my life. So mahalo, thank you for the opportunity. At 28 years old, I was diagnosed with uh, embryonal carcinoma. It started as testicular cancer, and it ended up spreading to my lymph nodes, to the liver, to the brain. Tumor markers were just off the hook. It was terminal stage 4, and I was referred to hospice. Um, and up until that point in my life, I was not living a healthy lifestyle. And this goes beyond the foods that I was eating, alcohol, drugs. It went into that spiritual realm of just not being present spiritually. And I felt like me being diagnosed with such a serious illness was a huge activation for me, a reminder to become grounded. There's incredible fear, the threat, the idea of no longer being present. And also knowing that at that point in my life, not even 30 years old, did I accomplish my purpose, my kikahi, as we say in Hawaiian? Have I shared, proliferated my gifts? And no, not at all. I was too busy playing the imitation game, the culture of control, censoring myself, obeying what society, I perceive society wanted me to be, who it wanted me to be. And that's when I realized, wow, I've been carrying resentment my whole adult life, um, immersed in trauma. And I'm like, no wonder I've been offered, gifted this activation. It says, okay. And, like very well, stage 4 as well, that, this is when the spirit source comes in and asks us this question: will I stay or will I go? And that had never been more clear to me than that moment, being told that, my option was hospice and comfort care, just load me full of fentanyl patches and oxycodone. But what's so beautiful about that moment do I stay or do I go? It was an epiphany because it's like, wait a minute, I have a choice. This cancer, it's not up to this cancer. This cancer has been offered to me so that I can come into recognition that it is my choice. So do I stay or do I go? I said to myself, okay, have I accomplished my purpose, my kikahi? Have I proliferated my gifts? No.
Mm.
I gotta stay. I gotta stay. So the next question was, what is my purpose? What are my gifts? If I'm gonna stay, this is gonna be my purpose. This is gonna be the meaning of why I'm staying. Now I have kuleana. I have responsibility to radiate, to have a presence, to touch the lives of my brothers and my sisters, to be of service. So I allowed myself to sit in that. There are two things that I had to become very clear about. One was, what in my life nourishes me? What is nourishing? And then the other is, what in my life has put me in deprivation? What harms me? And I had to become very, very clear about these two things. Now, when I reviewed that which puts me in deprivation, I realized of all the addictions, of all the escape mechanisms, not being present, of all the censorship, the resentment, not being authentic. I had no capacity for intimacy until cancer activated me. No capacity for intimacy. It was all performance. And in that performance, I resented people because I was blaming other people for the performance. You're making me do this. You're making me act like this. You're making me say this. No responsibility for self, a complete victim. So that became very clear, and that was a very sobering experience to just see how much of my life was a lie by choice, how much of my life was a complete lie. Then I shifted gears and I reviewed, okay, what nourishes me? I know that within the space of nourishment, that's where I'm going to locate my gifts. That's where I'm going to locate my kiakahi, my purpose. Now, when I was born, I was hanai by my grandmother, Kaua'i, who is a powerful medicine holder of the Hawaiian people born in Maui. And I was very, very, very blessed to be hanai by her. And she taught me all the ike, or the wisdom of our mo'okuauhau, our genealogy. And so up until 5 years old, I like to say my life from when I was born until 5 was just one epic ceremony,
Mm.
because that's how my grandmother lived, as a ceremony. So I was nourished in that way. So when I reviewed my nourishment, it always took me back to Tutu, to my time with Tutu. And the vision that I received when I was feeling into my nourishment was my Tutu's hands open.
Mm.
That's what I kept seeing. Her hands were open, and I knew I was akamai, that it was her gifting me something. So, okay, let's go further, okay, into this. What did Tutu gift me? The ike of my mo'okuauhau, my genealogy. And so I'm like, I just located my gift. This ike that she transferred to me, that I can touch the lives of others just as much as it touched mine. Yeah, that's how I'm going to show up. That's how I'm going to be of service. That's how I'm going to be present. When I made that distinction between deprivation, harm, nourishment, I was able to apply all my focus, all my energy, my radiance into that which nourishes me. As a cancer patient, we go in and get testing, or we get our tumor markers tested, and we see the progress, the prognosis. So after I made that epiphany occurred for me, I said, okay, all right, we're in this. I'm going to show up. I am going to show up. I am not the victim. Mahalo, cancer, you have activated me. Now move aside. I decide. I went in to get some testing, and a couple days later, they had me come in do more testing. And we did this little dance for a little bit, and it was discovered that the tumor markers were in complete normal range, the alpha fetoprotein. Um, and so then we did CAT scans and scans. and the cancer had completely vanished. I experienced what is known as a sudden spontaneous remission.
Wow.
It just vanished. I knew that it was because I finally shifted into what we in ancient Hawaiian call aloha ma, which is self-reflective love. I finally collapsed urgency, the rat race, the performance, allowed myself to pause, to just sit in whatever I was sitting in, whether it was sorrow, despair, elation, whatever it was. I decided to no longer control it. I sat in it, experienced it, and reaffirmed for myself self love, self reflective love. I will decide how I experience this life. I will decide how I participate, how I interact. And it's what truly saved my life.
Thank you for sharing. That's truly powerful. Very honored to hear your story. Just want to share a little bit. I mentioned this at the beginning. Hearing Keone's story helped me activate this little seed within me of like, okay, it's a matter of choice. So I think thank you for sharing that so others can hear that too, because it is really a mind body connection for all of us. How long did it take when you made that decision for you to get those results?
Less than 6 months.
Okay, okay.
Less than 6 months. It was very sudden.
So I'm imagining when you came upon that vision of your mission and why you're here, did you have to just constantly work at it to keep remembering that, even though there might be some doubting thoughts, more the dark thoughts that are like pulling you back into the other way of being? How did you keep your mind going in that trajectory?
Yeah, I made a commitment that that which nourishes me, that became my ceremony. So every morning throughout the day, I built a ceremony around that which nourishes me. So at the very least, it was just simple recognition. This is what will nourish me. This is what is nourishing me right now. It is happening now.
Hmm.
It is not a projection. It is happening now. It just requires my recognition. And that would be good enough. That would be good enough. And then it would slowly build momentum to where I could now service others. I could now speak, be exposed, talk about this. But
Right.
in the beginning, it was a very private experience. It was about me just being in recognition that my nourishment is my ceremony, regardless of what the world wants to tell me, regardless of what the doctors want to tell me about my prognosis, regardless of what the statistics say about the prognosis. No, I decide.
So is every moment you checking in of just like,
Every
okay, here I am
moment.
now. Let's arrange the thoughts in this
Every
direction.
moment. And I did not reject. The despair comes in, the doubt comes in, the hopelessness comes in. I do not escape it or reject it. I just sit with it and I correct it.
Hmm.
I clarify. I say, I feel you. Yeah, there's doubt. Of course. Look what the world wants to tell us. It's okay. Just sit in that for a moment. Okay, now let me clarify. That's not my story.
Right.
I will clarify. So we allow it to be heard, regardless of how ugly it is. I allow it to be heard, seen, recognized, and then I make the correction. I say, let me clarify. I decide.
That's very powerful for me to hear right now because I recently got some amazing test scores that showed my tumor markers were cancer free, which is
Yeah.
huge considering when I first contacted him, I had cancer in my lungs, liver, spine, adrenal glands, breast. I mean, yeah, I was in a very downhill spiral. And now I still CAT scan wise show that I do have cancer in certain places, but now I'm at the point I got through chemotherapy. I'm still doing active natural treatments and such, but it's keeping that line and that focus going. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, Tara, now you got to keep that going. How do you do that and not let those doubting thoughts come in? So
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate hearing that now personally for me. And I'm sure that's very useful for
Yeah,
everybody else listening too. Because it's a moment to moment process of
it is.
everything, who you talk to, people you're around,
Mm-hmm.
your habits, your food, everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, because I'm so familiar with your journey, to actually see, feel the momentum to which is moving you right now,
Hmm.
and it's very reminiscent of what I experienced. And that's why, It's so inspirational, and it's such an incredible reference point for me about my triumph. You know, like, wow, look what I accomplished. Look what I accomplished. And then that's alohama, that's self-reflective love, when we can be victorious.
Mm.
And that's not arrogant to say triumphant, victorious. So like just seeing how your momentum is unfolding, it's so similar to what I experienced. So it's just beautiful to see
Mm.
and
Thank you.
witness. Yeah.
So allowing yourself to take that in of like, I am triumphant, I did that, and to really
Yeah.
allow that
Yeah.
sense of celebration to be there.
Yes, the celebration is so important. Yeah. I feel like the celebration that's the most critical fuel for momentum,
Hmm.
is that celebration. That will override all doubt. That will override all shame. That will override all scarcity, is to be in that space of celebration. You know, it's like the old saying, they say that the only requirement for abundance is gratitude. That's
Mm.
the only requirement for abundance, is gratitude.
Yeah, gratitude's so important.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also curious too, because I know other people wonder, people always think like, oh, you cure cancer by changing your diet. And it's all this external thing, medicine, diet. And then, of course, there's the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm hearing from you and what has been a big part of my discovery, it's how the mind is. And so how did your diet change? I mean, I know you said that you didn't eat so well before, but was there a lot of changes as far as diet and lifestyle changes when you made that decision, or was it mostly mind?
There was definitely changes in diet. I
Okay.
went on a noni fast where I just had
Oh.
noni, either noni liquid or like a noni pudding even. Um, the other thing that I ate was like a asparagus pudding. Yeah. And water, you know, but I attribute the spontaneous healing to when I made the decision to restructure, to do a molecular restructure, a body restructure. You know, that's where I feel it really began. And the diet supported that.
Mm.
The diet supported that. The diet did not infringe upon that.
So the nutrition is important,
Nutrition
but
is
the
definitely important.
viewpoint,
Yeah.
mind state.
And especially when we're going into this rapid healing, the avatar, we need to care for the avatar, the body. It's been through a war. So I need to nourish it. You know, I need to drop in with the avatar, ask, how can I nourish it today? You know, the old me was going to say, let's drink, let's forget, let's go into escape, let's do this, that, you know.
Blame.
Yeah, you know, so but when I truly dropped into the avatar of the body, and it would honestly make suggestions, and I just was very devoted to that. Seriously, sometimes I drop into the avatar of the body and it says, I'm not hungry, don't feed me,
Mm-hmm.
you're overeating, fast today. And that was hard for me to transition to, because I come from a culture where it's like, you got to eat 3 meals a day. If you don't, you're going to get sick. If you don't, you know, you're not going to have energy. But truly, dropping into the avatar of the body and say, how can I support and nourish you today? What is most nourishing? And just have this dialogue with the body, and be very clear with the body too, with the avatar. Be like, they're telling us that our life may be extinguished, that we're riddled with cancer. We're going to change that story. Okay. I'm going to support you in that. Spiritually, I got this. Now, physically, how can I support you? What do you need right now? Not what do you want? What do you need right now? Okay, let's support one another and just begin that dialogue with the avatar. And, you know, that's a form of telepathy. You know, we have telepathy with our own bodies, with our own physical bodies, the biology of who we are. So just tune into that. Take time. And, you know, the most important thing is what in Hawaiian we say ume, which is pause. Because we live in a culture run by urgency, crisis, especially when we're given a diagnosis that says, my life may be over. Crisis, hysteria. To collapse that reverse urgency and say, no, pause, feel it, regardless of how ugly it is. Feel it. Allow me to feel it. If I feel it, I can get to know it. I know how to make corrections. So let's sit in this. What do you need to tell me right now? And then make corrections.
I think it's so beautiful that you listened to the cancer and the message that it had instead of just ignoring it and running away in fear.
Yeah.
Speaks to a big part of your healing. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
you reversed it.
Oh, yeah. And, I remember I had a conversation with my sister and I was talking about, going on a fast, with a noni fast. And somewhere in that dialogue, I said, my cancer. And she's like, don't ever say that. Don't ever say that. Don't take ownership of it. And I'm like, but it's happening now.
Mm.
This is happening now. So if I can cultivate, foster an intimate relationship with an activation, I don't know how to make corrections.
Mm.
I don't know how to be present with it so we can resolve it. If I say, no, it's not nothing, I don't want anything to do with it, I'm in escape and avoidance. Okay. And the disease, the illness can react like a child not getting attention. It's gonna scream louder.
So by you saying my cancer, it's acknowledging it's there, so therefore you can let it go. Whereas if you
Yes.
refuse to say that, it'd be creating a wall. So it
Right.
could still grow.
So it could still grow and throw a tantrum. Why
Yes.
aren't you listening to me? I have something to say to you right now. It's going to scream louder, louder, become more violent, more destructive when I just say, okay, we may pause. What would you like to say? Why are you here? Why? Tell me. I'm listening. How can I correct this? I'm equipped. I'll correct it.
I think that's really a great point because it's so interesting, the whole like new age way of thinking and affirmations, which I think is wonderful. But there's a deeper level that I've seen in the healing cancer alternatively community that's like, don't claim the cancer, like, don't even say the word. But in not claiming it, it's exactly right. You're ignoring it, therefore allowing it to proliferate. So I appreciate that point because I struggled with that one a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
Good to really listen to.
yeah. Okay, if I have symptoms, if I've been diagnosed, if there's proof it's happening.
Right.
It's happening. I might as well just face it. Otherwise, I'm in escape and avoidance. If I'm in recognition of it, I can get to know it. I begin a dialogue with it. I can make corrections. It's as simple as that.
Listen to it and then let it go.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Listen to it, put it at ease, and give it instructions.
Mhm.
I gave the cancer instructions.
Right.
All right, you have activated me. I understand. You have done your part. Thank you, and I love you.
Mm.
Now I release myself from bondage. We are done here.
Mm.
Mahalo, and I love you. And it just vanished.
And I just want to say, this man, you are really are one of the most incredible beings I know. It's such an honor to know you, truly, to attend your workshops and to know you personally. He does powerful work in the world. You're touching so many people's lives more than you know through all your sharings, your writings, your stories, your teachings, and tuning into your mission, your kuleana, as you speak of. It's really powerful. You really come to life. So I commend you for having the strength to listen and to transform that story. It takes an incredible amount of strength.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for these opportunities to share. And, like my triumph over this activation, it's part of my kuleana now to continue speaking about it, to be present with it, and to inspire brothers and sisters. So, mahalo, thank you for this opportunity, sister.
I don't think people realize when you're sharing. I mean, you share a little bit about it in social media, but it's not coming through in every post, obviously, because it's such a part of your past. It was
Mhm.
11 years ago, but I don't think people quite realize all that you've gone through. So I just really want to speak to it because
Mahalo.
it's an incredible feat.
Mahalo.
I truly mean it.
Yeah, I'm super proud of myself. Super proud of myself. Mahalo, thank you for seeing that.
Deserve like a million pats in the back for that. I also want to speak to something too personally that happened with me and that you assisted me with. I was in the midst of cancer treatment. I think it was the beginning of October of 2019, and I was really struggling mentally. Ironically, it was before I broke my hip and had to have double hip surgery, which was one of the hardest things I've gone through. But this time I'm speaking about in October 2019, mentally, I was at a point of like, oh my gosh, I'm going through so much. I'm going through cancer treatment. My partners and my relationship was going downhill. And I was at a point of like, I don't think I could handle this anymore. And I remember talking to Keone, to you, and we had a conversation, and I was just in tears, and I didn't feel comfortable sharing that level of vulnerability with hardly anybody because nobody could really understand what I was going through. And I remember talking to you, we were in that back room there and just in tears going like, I don't know if I want to be here anymore. And you were very honest and you said, Tara, whatever you decide, if you decide to go and leave this body, you decide to stay, it's all okay. And that was such a powerful thing for me to know that it was okay, because I think a lot of times when we're in a serious health journey, there's this part of like, we must win, we must survive, we must live. And it's beautiful if the person wants to live. But like you were saying, if it's time for the person to go and to pass on their earthly body, that's okay too, because that's part of the
Yeah.
death. And that's a beautiful path too. So just accepting whatever path happens with the body and the mind,
Mhm.
it's all right. And just to share a little bit more, you were at that choice point and you saw your grandmother's hands. I was sitting with, after we spoke for a few days, just like, what do I want? Do I want to stay? What do I want to go? Why do I want to be here on earth? And I was driving home. I live here in Kaua'i here, and there's the Makaleha Mountains, which are right over here. And I remember seeing the mountains and being like, this is why I want to stay, because of these beautiful mountains, because my ancestors are from here. So you assisted me through a very challenging choice point. And then after that, things got better, even though I broke my hip and it was incredibly challenging. It was like my mind point had shifted.
Yeah.
So thank you for helping me with that in such a
Mahalo.
vulnerable way.
Mahalo. I'm so grateful to have received that and inspired you in any way I could have at that moment. And so just feel so blessed. Thank you, sister.
I think it's just such a gift when you're going through this to be heard in your vulnerability, because it's so scary. It's hard to know who to talk to because nobody really
Mhm.
understands unless they've gone through it.
Right, right. And that's the relatability, that component of relatability. It's so important for us to be relatable, for others to be relatable, so that we can have that sense of intimacy with one another, to be authentic, to collapse the performance. If I don't feel relatable, if I'm not relating to something, chances are I'm going to perform. Or if I don't feel like someone's feeling relatable to me, I can sense when someone's performing. And it's not malicious. We do that because we don't feel like we connect. There's no relatability. And that's why, like, you know, what's so inspirational about what you're doing is that you are making it relatable
Mm.
by how you share every day, regardless of how people are reacting to it. You say, no, I decide I'm going to make myself relatable. The only way for me to do that is to express how I'm feeling, who I am, and continue to do that every single day. I will clarify. I will make it relatable. If you don't feel like you relate to me, I will make it relatable.
That leads me to a question. When you made this decision to heal, this choice point and be on your mission, do you feel like you've been able to kind of surf that wave through your everyday life all these 11 years? I mean, I'm sure the mind comes in and tempts us all with whatever shadows it has, but have you been able to hold that consciousness of, like you're saying, laughter and being present and being grateful for the most part, like surfing a wave?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I fall into the throes of crisis and scarcity a lot.
So you're still human.
Yeah. But what's so beautiful is I can make a transition or correction rather quickly. And it usually is followed by laughter because, like I was sharing with many people, we're unaware of just what takes us into survival. The littlest things can take us into survival and crisis. And, I remember one day I put my pen down on the table. It rolled off and fell on the floor. All of a sudden, I was in crisis. Like I was so upset, like how dare this pencil? But right away I was able to make the correction and I just laughed. I'm like, really, Keone? Really? That's what takes you into survival? And so it just was overwhelmed by my laughter, by just the humor of it. Be like, wow, wow. So there's no shame attached to it. I don't beat myself up when I go into doubt, scarcity. When I make the correction, it just becomes humorous, like, wow. You went there.
Just a pen.
You went there. But you make the correction. You make the correction.
So when things that are a little heavier besides a pen or pencil going off the table happen, like a disagreement with a friend, or if somebody
Hmm.
confronts you in an unhealthy way,
Yeah.
does that have a little bit more of an impact where it takes you a little bit longer to see through that? Or
It it does, because
Mhm.
now we're dealing with someone else's energy field. So I want to be respectful to them. So of course, if I'm having a disagreement, I'm not going to respond in laughter because that might really offend someone.
Mm.
So, I'll consider exactly how I'm feeling, but then I'll also feel into why. Why are they reacting? Why are they responding the way they're responding? So I can put myself in a state of pause, so I can be present, and then I can receive. Like, explain to me, like, why is this happening? According to you, why is this happening? Now, oftentimes too, this means that we are simply not an energetic match. So I just won't engage. And that's the key. Okay. So we don't have to engage with everyone all the time. We can have boundaries and we can say, I will witness you. I don't abandon my brothers and my sisters, but I will not engage. If it violates my principles, if their behavior, the things they say, the things they do, violates my principles, I'm very clear about my boundaries. No corrections are made on their part or my part. Then I know we're not an energetic match. Disengage. I will not engage. Now, that's mutable because at any moment, should that become an energetic match? Yes, the answer will be yes, let's engage. The no's are mutable, just as the yeses are mutable. It depends on what the energy is required at that moment.
If somebody, I'm just curious, if somebody's coming at you and projecting their anger upon you, will you stand up for your boundaries? And in a way of not engaging, but just saying something like, no, that's like own your own power and not engaging, but still have boundaries so they're not crossing them with you.
Yeah, and that's what I would say is clarifying boundaries.
Mhm.
And it's not an attack. I'm not going to attack and say, you should be like this or you should do this. No, that's not for me to say. I don't get to translate other people's sovereignty. I don't get to translate why people are reacting the way they do. That's why I say, share with me, educate me. Why? Why? But this also requires me to be very clear about my boundaries. Look, this is what nourishes me. If I'm not being nourished, I will not engage. Now, after I've clarified what nourishes me, can you honor that? This is a mature conversation. And then with that, what nourishes you? So I can be very clear and sure that I can show up for what nourishes you.
Mm.
Now, if for whatever reason that conversation just keeps going in a loop, because these are conversations people just don't have.
Sure.
Okay. Now, this is what's known as true intimacy, when we can have these conversations. Not a lot of people have the capacity to have true intimacy right now. So if we're going in a pathological loop, disengage. I made myself clear. I said, these are my boundaries. This is what nourishes me. It's not being honored. I'm not receiving the boundaries from someone else. Someone else is not being clear about how I can nourish. I'm not going to engage.
Withdraw. You're like, okay, enough already.
Right. But,
I
but,
can't do any more here.
but at the same time, making it also clear that this is mutable. I do not abandon you. Because when we have these conversations with our brothers and our sisters, any type of rejection takes us back to what is known as first trauma. Okay, separation, first trauma, birth,
Mm.
right? So abandonment is a big, big, dense trauma in this collective. So it is so nourishing when we can make boundaries, be clear about it, but then add, I do not abandon you. That's powerful. When we can say boundaries, but say, I do not abandon you and I love you. At any moment, should this be an energetic match, I will be here.
It's huge. Takes a lot of love. Kudos to you for cultivating that aloha ma within yourself.
Aloha ma, self-reflective love. And yeah, it's a daily practice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a daily practice. Faltering happens daily. You know, the seduction of the victimhood is very alluring. It's very, very seductive to not take responsibility. And we live in a culture which encourages that.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a society that says, be a victim, rely on religion or government, rely on something other than yourself. So it's encouraged in us to be a victim. So to change that story, it's a violation to this current narrative. But that's why, those of us who are willing to go into the space of intimacy, we must more continue so that we can inspire others. There is another way. Suffering is not mandatory.
Rewrite that script.
Yes.
No more victimhood.
No more victimhood. And I like to say, in the ancient language, we say hanapku alome'e. Hanapku alome'e. It means the victim has collapsed, the hero is present.
That's very empowering just to know we're sovereign into ourselves, just to be empowered.
Yeah.
We don't have to get that from, society,
Yeah.
government, the doctors,
Right.
family, whoever.
Right. We spend a majority of our life seeking permission and approval. Mm-hmm. And no matter how much we get of that, it will never be enough because that hunger is insatiable until I give myself permission, right? If I do not feel free, it is because I have not issued myself my own freedom. I'm waiting for it to be given to me. If I do not feel loved, it is because I'm waiting for it to be given to me. So we need to learn how to just gift it to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. We could have a whole nother conversation topic about that.
Yeah.
That's a huge one.
Yeah.
Now, how do you really do that? That'll be the next episode. I want to cover a few things that I know people are curious about. You had your diagnosis. Did you do any chemotherapy or radiation, or what was your healing protocol? You mentioned the noni pass.
Yes.
Noni's from Hawaii here, very powerful, and stinky fruit.
It's very stinky. Yes, imagine eating a pudding of it.
Dirty socks.
Oh, I did do a 1 round of BEP chemo. Of course, it was recommended that I do a lot more. I did 1 round and I said, I don't want to do this. And I have to admit, the reason why I decided that was because I wanted to just give up. My partner, he died during my diagnosis, and I did the chemo. He ended up dying suddenly of heart failure. He was only 29 years old. And I said, I'm just going to go join him. So that was initially why I stopped doing chemo. So now, but within that, I was like, okay, what other reasons? Why should I not give up? And that's when it came to that. Do I stay or do I go? So it all happened quite rapidly. How the spontaneous remission presented itself. It's like all these different things, elements. And I like to say, his name was Robert, that he was another activation,
That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
What was the time difference between when he died and when you made that choice? It sounds like it was all a short period of time.
Mm-hmm. It was within probably 3 months. Mm-hmm.
That's huge that you were able to transcend that grief. Because my best friend died 19 years and I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer a year almost to the day that she had died. And that's a lot to hold that grief and your own diagnosis.
Yeah. And it gave me all the excuses in the world to give up. All the excuses in the world to give up. But there's just something else that says, that's not your story. That's not your story. And yeah, it's quite mysterious, sister, just how that really unfolded. If I attempt to apply logic, I get nowhere. It's just so incredibly mysterious.
The universe just lined things up for you to be like, okay, Keone, wake up now.
Yeah.
Not, you're out.
Yes.
to the next place.
And the last thing Robert said to me before he transcended was, and this helped me also to overcome the grief, was he said, we hugged, and he says, I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be in my life right now. So that told me that he was content, and that told me that he had completed his kiakahi here.
Mm-hmm.
So he transcended clean. And so, that was also a reference to me like, can I say that right now? Where I am right now, can I say I'm exactly where I need to be in my life? No way. No way. There's such hysteria surrounding me and this and that. No. So when I remember Robert saying that and I was in the throes of my own choice, I was like, I need to be able to say I'm exactly where I need to be right now.
So I'm going to be vulnerable here. Your story brings up emotions because my best friend died, Deb Hupsmith, when she was 46. And I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, like I said, a year after she died. And immediately we were like twins. And when she died, it was like, there's a part of me that wanted to go too. Like my heart was so hurt by her loss. And I had to really work hard to be like, no, Tara, that was Deb's story. It was her time to go. You have a choice to stay or not. So there's so many things about your path in your life that just speak to me so directly. And it's just, I'm a bit speechless. It's very profound. So
Oh,
I'm so glad that you chose to stay because you're, providing so much inspiration for me and so many more people.
oh,
Yeah.
oh, sister. I work with fern medicine, plant medicine, and ferns correlate to human emotions, emotional intelligence. There's a fern for grief, and it's Palahina. And I had a conversation with this entity, and it said, "What is your idea of grief? What is it?" And my response then was loss. Every time I feel like I've participated or been witness to grief, it's been loss. And she says, no, that's a distortion.
Mm.
I'm not about loss. I'm about completions.
Mm.
I'm about completions. Robert, he completed. If I'm holding on to him, I'm holding him back from his completion. He's done. He completed. He has achieved. He is triumphant.
That's a wonderful thing to realize.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people who are diagnosed with cancer, I mean, it's proven that it's within a year or two of some great loss, like a relationship breakup or a death.
Mm-hmm.
So to realize that that was part of that person's story or what was meant to happen, so
Yeah.
the individual can go forward in their own autonomy
Mm-hmm.
and heal rather than hold on.
Right. Right.
I also want to speak to, because this is so much of who you are, your Hawaiian culture and lineage. You have this depth from your tutu's knowledge and what you carry forth, which
Mm-hmm.
is so needed on this planet now. I see this society being so fractured
Mm-hmm.
in so many ways, and you're bringing forth this wonderful plant medicine as a healing force. But with that plant medicine comes your wisdom that you're channeling through your ancestors. Will you speak a little bit about your Hawaiian ancestry and your Scottish ancestry, and
Okay.
if you feel like sharing your tattoo?
Sure.
That's really fascinating. Makes him who he is. So.
Thank you. Yeah, my grandmother, Kaua'i, comes from the lineage of Mu or Mu, and this is a primordial pre-Tahitian Hawaiian culture. So, our Oli Mo'okuauhau, or, many Hawaiian families have a chant, and the chant is the chant of our lineage, the names of our lineage. And ours goes back 20,000 years. Here, not in Tahiti, not in Samoa, but here. So we know that we've been here for at least 20,000 years. So that archaic past of Hawaii is very mysterious. And the reason being is because not a lot of people who come from this lineage have learned, have received the ike, the knowledge, like I have from my grandmother, from families ohanas that have chosen to perpetuate this culture. It's very rare these days. And mainly because, modern Hawaii is ruled by a system called kapu, where something is forbidden. So many things in kapu is, for one, you don't talk about your family or ohana outside of your family. You don't talk about secrets with certain people in the family. So a lot of the kupuna, they hala without sharing. So of course that lineage is dead. It's make. So there are just a handful of ohanas that I know of, including mine, who have carried on this tradition. My dad's family are Scottish, but they lived in Hawaii for over 200 years. They're one of the first missionary families. They lived in all the islands since 1821. And so, I feel even in that side of the family, there's some really deep Hawaiian roots. And your Portuguese family is quite similar, very deep roots here, although not of the Wai'ihi or the Native Hawaiian blood. But like my Scottish family, if you ask them, any member of that family, they're blonde, they have red skin. You have Scottish red skin, they don't tan. Um, but if you ask them, what is your heritage? They say Hawaiian, and they say it with pride. Because they've known nothing else. Yeah, we have like the records that say from Edinburgh and Isle of Skye, but this is all we've known is Hawaii. So this is our home. We are Hawaiian.
And the plant medicine too. You listen so deeply to the plants, and I know this is knowledge you've been gifted too, but obviously you're carrying forth more. Can you speak a little bit to that?
So my grandmother, she taught me something called pua'a ehu ehu, or fern medicine. Okay. And as I was saying before, ferns correlate to human emotions. There are 103 Native Hawaiian ferns that correlate to 103 human emotions. Okay. So the and this is why one of the first things I was taught as a child was the art of telepathy, to tune into the natural world, ferns and any other botanical, to begin a dialogue. Um, for me, telepathy comes in these little subtle tings I get in my nervous system. Like when I speak to people about telepathy, people have this impression that telepathy, it's like in the language they know, it's like a sounding in their head, like, oh, it's going to be in English or whatever. That's not my experience with telepathy. It's a ping in my nervous system, and I can translate that just mysteriously into any language I want. But that's how it comes through. Like your foot is asleep and there's all a shh. That's how it feels, and that's a language. And then I just ume, pause, and then it slowly translates itself into something that's more comprehensible, such as English or Hawaiian. But this is how I have conversations with these plant entities, and been instructed for 2 years now to make plant medicine, la'alapa'au, and to share it with people. And this is part of my kiakahi, my purpose right now. And this is in honor and tradition of my lineage too, because I come from ohana of plant medicine practitioners. So it's my honor to carry on this tradition, and to not subscribe to kapu and say I won't share, I have to keep it secret. That's not my story. I have shared. There have been no repercussions spiritually. I've only been nourished and encouraged spiritually to continue to imua.
Check out, what's your website? Pohala?
Pohala.net.
Pohala.net.
Yes.
He's got so many different potions and just a lot of depth. It's amazing, actually. Yeah, and check out his Instagram pages and the stories and all the humor and wisdom that comes forth. There's so much there. My last question is, what would you say to somebody who's diagnosed with cancer, as far as what would be the most profound, powerful advice you could say to somebody in a situation like that?
One is, don't go into hysterics. Do not subscribe to crisis. regardless of what is being told to you, remember that you have a choice. Fundamentally, you have a choice. How am I going to participate with this? For me, it was clearly an activation for me. Now, an activation means that something has begun. So let's see it through. This is not an ending. This is a beginning. Drop in, be present with it. Ask it to clarify. Why are you here? Why have you come? That's the fundamental question. Why? Educate me, tell me. How can I make corrections? Know it very well so you can make the corrections, release yourself from bondage, honor the activation, and then thrive.
Shazam.
Shazam. Shazam. And just like you're saying, if the activation is to hala, then it is to hala. It is neither right nor wrong.
That's truly empowering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To embody whatever it is.
Whatever it is. Whatever it is. And when you drop in and have a mature conversation with your essence, it is immune to untruths. It is immune. Whatever it suggests and says, that's what it is. If I say, how can I make corrections? What are the corrections to be made? It's like, they're on them. This is the activation. It's time to hala. Relief. Regardless of what it is, such deep relief. Because the performance is over.
It's a big piece of performance.
Yeah.
Like, we don't realize in this culture how much we are performing, or we like put on a bright face or smile or whatever.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Peace with mortality, peace with life, whatever path. Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Just in conclusion, any bits of wisdom or humor you want to share?
It's okay to be in the mystery. It's okay. We don't need to figure everything out. It's okay to be suspended and held in a mystery without having to apply so much logic to it. Just be held in a mystery and to know I'm safe. I'm safe in the mystery, regardless of what the outside world wants to translate that as. It's okay to be in a mystery. You know, that has offered me incredible relief. And that also is what collapsed the performance. Is I don't need to outsmart everything. I don't need to be one step in front of this or that, a situation or a person. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, to just be.
Yep.
In what is. Well, thank you so much for giving of your time and your wisdom and just sharing like this. It's very profound. It means a lot.
Mahalo.
So grateful for you.
I'm grateful for you, my sister. Mahalo.
I want to hug you now.
Mahalo.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha.